the cloud. Okay. So you guys, yeah, you'll mute yourselves and so that at least only when you have to ask or interject will you do so. Okay. Yeah, so basically what we just did now is what is called a check-in. And I will request you guys that daily you do a check-in with your partner, you know, mawuvela emsebenzini, or wherever you come from, just check in with your partner. How are you? How are you doing? There's something called nakedness without shame in marriage, which is coming to a point where you can be some sort of vulnerable to your partner, where your soul gets tied, your emotions get tied with your partner to a point where you can tell them when you're not feeling okay. So, for example, with me, I know I have not been well since last year. Like it got really, really serious because I've been doing 1,000 things at the same time, and I'm a bit of a workaholic. So the only way that the devil tries to donor me is through, using the work that I do. So I haven't been taking that seriously. So I had to be very open and honest with my wife that this is the space I'm at, psychologically, spiritually, this is where I'm at. And not feel as if, I'm going to be crucified, because my wife is not Delilah, she's Prudence. So that information is to help her to be able to help me with whatever I'm going through. So it's important to kind of say when it's a tough day, it's been a tough day. When it's been a tough week, it's been a tough week. Don't say to the glory of God, to the power of God. It's great to do that, but that you are talking to. So you need to just be open and honest to them, Muti. It's been a hard week. It's been a tough week. So that if their minds are in the right place as well, they'll take your feet, rub them, do whatever that they can do to make life comfortable for you. But if you are going to play the hard, Christianese language thing, then uzoti, when you need a massage, verse, or your husband will give you a verse, instead of rubbing your feet. So I hope you guys get what I'm saying. It's very important that you become open and honest with your partner. Be naked without shame. The Bible teaches us that Adam and Eve, they were naked without shame, right? They were transparent. It's vulnerability. And by that, obviously, I'm not talking about as a man, it's been a tough week, and then you're crying. That's not gonna cut it, especially for your lady who's of an conscience. This is serious. Who am I married to here? Once in a while you can cry. I mean, last year I lost a very important man in my life, my mentor, he's known me since I was very young, and he died of COVID. And man, I cried. I cried because this was somebody that was super important to me. And to lose them in that way was painful, because I still believed he had a lot of giving to do, a lot of living to do. So yeah, that was like once in a blue moon. You can cry before God, but you can't be crying every second, So I think what we are trying to get to today is to the issues of openness and transparency and being able to talk to each other. And there mustn't be anybody else, man, that knows your partner more than you, and that knows about your partner more than you. It's not right. Whether it's a friend or whatever, this is somebody that you live with. And this is somebody that you stay with. So they ought to know you more than any other person. That your partner knows more about you than anybody else. Otherwise, then you are not really being as honest to them as possible. If there's one thing that was positive about Samson and Delilah's relationship, is that they communicated. Never mind they were cohabiting and all the other stuff, but they worked on something. In fact, they were so open to each other, you would think they were married, and they were not married. But they were able to break down each other's walls to a point where one could be vulnerable to the other. And that's a very good space for any relationship to be at. Am I open? Am I in a space where you know my heart, I know your heart? Do we have what is called a soul tie, which is a very important thing? You know, as a couple, it's important for you to have a soul tie with each other. You know, it's vital. I think it grows the relationship when you guys have a soul tie. I know when we were growing up, we were told soul ties are dangerous and everything, not in marriage. In marriage with your partner, a soul tie is never dangerous. You need to have one. You need to have one so that your soul knows your partner's soul. I don't know if that makes sense. It's important for your souls to be knit. You know, your heart can be given to anybody else. So today it's going to feel, you know, it's going to be more of just going through the notes that I've prepared for us. So I need you guys to pay some attention to the screen. Can you guys see what's going on the screen? Okay, happy. Okay, let me try and maybe just move this a bit so that you see 100% what's going on. Let me take this up here. Okay, so today we are talking about communication and conflict resolution. Please, if you don't understand, go ahead and stop me so that we can make sure that all of us are on board. Okay, I wanted this thing to be a full screen. I used the wrong thing, so it's okay. We'll just do with what we have. So the one thing, okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay, so conflict is usually as a result of the fact that something goes wrong in this, what we call a communication cycle. Communication cycle is when a sender sends a message that is encoded with signals to through a channel which may have noise to the recipient, who decodes it and offers feedback. I hope that makes sense. So on the left, we have a sender, and a sender encodes a message and uses a channel. The channel can be SMS, WhatsApp, Facebook, whatever, and to the recipient. And the recipient's responsibility is to decode it and to offer feedback. So this thing, anything can go wrong here that can cause miscommunication. It could be the sender, maybe the sender is stressed. It could be the recipient is stressed. It could be the channel is problematic. You know, it's like when you're using a cell phone and the signal is bad, you know, it could be that. There's always problems. Or even with the feedback, it can be misunderstood. So you have to, you know, whenever there's a misunderstanding, you have to ask yourself, what has gone wrong where? Is it my understanding? Is it your understanding? Is it the channel we used? That's why I usually say to couples, guys, as much as possible, use words and use face-to-face interaction than WhatsApp, because things get translated, what do you call it? They get misinterpreted on WhatsApp and all these other things. Rather leave a voice note so that I can even understand your tone and where you are coming from. So it's important, guys, that when we communicate, we are clear. WhatsApp, sometimes, you know, you write in, you know, very short writing, and certain things get lost in translation. So we have to try and avoid that. Okay. And then obviously we spoke about noise, which is what is also known as barriers to communication. And these barriers can happen along 5 things. Now, physical barriers could be, for example, a wall between you and your partner, physical wall, or a car passing between you and your partner causing noise. You know, that's a physical barrier. It's physically there. Physiological barriers are barriers that have to do with the body. Let's say somebody is deaf, you know, they can't hear clearly. It's a physiological barrier. You know, they don't have arms, so they can't make certain gestures. That's a physiological barrier. So you have to ask yourself, is our communication being bothered by physiological issues? Like, for example, maybe me being on my phone, looking down, instead of looking at my partner, or looking at the TV instead of looking at my partner, and then the next thing is psychological barriers. And this one has to do with stress, depression, anxiety. When you're going through issues in your mind and your mental health is not okay, you tend to be very challenged in terms of your communication. So sometimes we force things with our partners. You want to discuss it there and then, and your partner is asking, please give me time. I'm not well. I'm not okay. Can you give me time so that I can go and rest and come back and deal with this thing, because I'm a bit stressed and I can't really cope, And sometimes you'll force your partner to do chores, even when you can see that they are bone tired, simply because it's their turn to do chores. Yet you can see that they're tired, and it causes a fight in the relationship. Those kind of things are dangerous for the relationship. Then there are semantic barriers. Semantic barriers are barriers that have to do with language. If you are married to a Xhosa and Umupedi, and you don't understand certain words, the Xhosa, you are going to struggle, So these are semantic barriers that have to do with accents, where you grew up, how you speak. They have to do with language. You have to try. That's why it's important to spend time with each other, so that you know each other's verbal and non-verbal cues. Once you've been married to somebody for a long time, when they're coughing, you know what they mean. There are certain gestures that you begin to pick up that will help you to kind of say, hey, maybe I'm treading on the wrong path here. My partner is not impressed with what I'm doing. So let me step back so that I don't end up messing things up with my partner. And then the last one is called perceptual barriers. And that one has to do with gender differences, age gaps, just things that have to do with perception, so those are other things that can become barriers. No? And then I love this quote, guys. It's a very important one. It's by a man called Jamie Oliver Garande. He's I think he's Zimbabwean. He's half Caribbean and Zimbabwean. And he said the following words: marriage isn't for petty people. And those words stuck to me. Marriage isn't for petty people. In other words, pettiness kind of aggravates a marriage. It takes it out of the happiness space it's supposed to be at. If you're going to be petty, it's going to be super problematic for you. I mean, where the toothpaste gets squeezed. I mean, those are really petty things. You need to kind of say to yourself, is this worth an argument? Is this worth us getting into a heated debate? Is it worth it? Do I need to take this angle? So marriage isn't for petty people. Marriage is for people that are ready to commit, that are ready to kind of let certain things slide as well. They're just not necessary, to slide, to take and to run with. Like, let's see at this thing. We know that communication is via verbal and non-verbal cues. No? So look at this thing, what it says. It says that words are 7% of our communication. 38% of our communication is our voice, our tone, our modulation, and our pauses. So in other words, what I'm asking you guys to do when you are talking to each other and to other people, watch your voice, watch your tone, watch your modulation, watch just how you present your words, And then the rest of the other 55% of our communication is body language, it's movements, it's face, it's arms. You can communicate affection through your touch, through your arms, through your words. You communicate that, hey, man, I love you. So that is a super important thing. It's not just about the words, man. It's about voice. It's about tone. You can't call your partner a spam donor, or swear at them and say all kinds of mean things. You have to monitor yourself to say, the one thing I know about words, guys, is that once they are spoken, they are never returned. Yes, the person will forgive you, but it's going to be difficult to forget when somebody has called me all kinds of words. It's going to be super difficult. because those words stick. Words are powerful. So we have to be cognizant of that. So the next thing that's important with communication is understanding emotional intelligence. You know, if you are going to have a good relationship with your partner, you know, it's important for you to be high in emotional intelligence. In other words, you must be self-aware, meaning be aware of your emotions, be able to create accurate self-assessments. Don't be prideful and arrogant and think you're the best thing that has come to this earth and you are there to change your partner's life. You know, you are such a blessing to them. You know, sometimes we overvalue our impact and influence in other people's lives. And it also has to do with self-confidence, how confident you are. A lack of self-confidence also affects relationships, but overconfidence also affects relationships. So it's important to have a modest view of yourself. Then you must also be able to manage yourself. I'm at the bottom left. In other words, self-control, being transparent, being adaptable. Because the truth is, guys, in marriage, how can I put it? Things change, right? And sometimes, you know, you kind of sit with yourself and you're like, yo, this person is changing. You know, when I married my wife, she always alludes to the fact that she had a very small waist. Now she's a full mama, you know, and I've had to kind of adjust to that, to say, look, this person, you get what I'm saying? She's the mother of my kids. So unless if I want to take the kids back into her womb, I need to chill. I'm not saying don't go to the gym and take care of yourself, but I also think it's important as well for us men not to be frustrating and give our partner stress, you know, when you find that they're going through changes. So things will change. A simple thing, guys, in 2014, we went through a tough time with my wife. A very, very hard time financially. We got into debt because of pastoring a church. Things went wrong at the church. It wasn't because of our decision, but it was because just things went wrong, man, at church. And we lost cars, we lost money, and we were in a lot of trouble and we had to adjust and downgrade. At some point, I had to use taxis, you know, a full-on man of God, you know, I was now too serious wherever I was going. And that's life. That's life. And I want to say that to you guys, to say, life will show you flames sometimes. Life will require you to humble yourself. If you guys are not petty, you'll be able to handle it pretty nicely. So you need to be adaptable, guys. You'll go through changes, a lot of them. Personally, privately, there are a lot of things that might change, and you need to still remain with each other and say, look, I still like you. I think you are a cool person and you're still somebody worth being with. Top right, social awareness. By that, I'm talking about being empathetic, stepping into your partner's shoes. And that is a very important thing. I don't know how to stress this. I know you guys are male and female there, but if you are going to have a good marriage, you need to do your best to step into your partner's shoes. Step into your partner's shoes. It's super important. As a man, as a woman. Here I am, I'm requesting my wife to cook and to clean and to wash dishes. And yet she works the same number of hours that I work. Now the question becomes, how is it going to be possible? Doesn't she get tired? You see what I'm saying? So step into your partner's shoes. Your husband comes home, he's been working hard, and you still want him to do some things while you had a bit less time doing other things. Empathy would say to you, let me step into my partner's shoes here. is it right for me to expect them to still do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 when they've been working so hard? You see what I'm saying? Empathy is the secret to successful relationships. You have to step into your partner's shoes. Then you won't swear at them. You won't say insulting things to them. You won't mishandle finances. Why? Because you are empathetic. How would I feel if I was married to somebody like me? You know, you ask yourself those critical matters about your relationship. And I beg you guys, think for your partner. Think like your partner sometimes. How would this person feel? How would I feel if I was in their shoes? So that is what is called empathy. Okay, being empathetic. It's a very important skill in a relationship. The next one is obviously being aware of the organization of marriage. And the issue of service orientation is also important. And by that, I mean serving one another. So as a couple, Quentin must serve Samu. Simamisa must serve Sisipo. And the other way around. You know, there's no boss emchatweni. There are partners. And yes, we have different roles, but the point of serving one another is so important. You know, men are ego-driven, so you serve me knowing that I'm ego-driven as a man, right? Women desire affection. So when you serve them as a person who's affectionate, who needs affection. So the last one is called relationship management. And that's where we talk about leadership, inspiring one another. Guys, it's important for you to be a positive influence to your partner. It wouldn't be great. Since usimamisa efika empilweni kaSisipho, what a mess. That would be so horrible. Or since Quentin arrived empilweni kaSamu, things are just upside down. You must focus on being a positive influence on your partner. Make it a point to say, I need to leave my footprint in my partner's life, such that if anything happens, they must remember what a good man I was, or what a good woman I was. You see what I'm saying, guys? Ne? There must be influence. There must be service. There must be a positive influence. Mawfika, things changed for the better. When you arrived in your partner's life, things became better. That shows that you are a good person. You are emotionally intelligent. So you find sometimes that, man, since somebody arrived, like when Jezebel arrived in Ahab's life, all hell broke loose. What a bad team. You know, last week, I'm not sure if I told you guys about this. Yes, I think I did, right? This couple where the guy was betting for both teams. Yeah? I told you that story. I had told you that the lady remarried. Like she remarried, got into a new relationship with somebody who had fancied her. You know, it broke my heart this week to find out that she's now divorced again to that guy. Yeah. So it hit me hard. It really hit me hard, because I was hoping at least that they would get their relationship to work, because I believe she deserves better. You know, I mean, I know this person from when we were youth, and this relationship fell upon her, and to see her divorcing yet again and living with some other guy now, you know, it's horrible. So what I'm trying to say to you is that, guys, please make sure that your relationship is filled with goodness and positive influence and love for one another and support for one another. You know, don't come into this marriage with a self-serving attitude to say, this thing must serve my interests. When you come in, you must ask yourself, What can I do to make my partner's life better? Such that by the time I'm done, people can see that, no, man, this person has worked. You know, when I walk with my wife, and people are always complimenting her because she's a pretty woman, you know, and she likes dressing up and all the other stuff. So it makes me proud. It makes me happy that, yes, you know, as much as I'm not into fashion and all the other stuff, my wife is, and she looks great. And it's a positive reflection on me, not just on her. So if umngakho embashile, it's not a good sign. Not a good sign. You are not influencing them properly. You are not making them a better person. Okay, so you must be a change catalyst for your partner. Change for the better. In other words, if engene emtshadweni engena certificate, by the time you are done with them, they must at least have a degree or a master's or Ricari, something, man. You know, the certificate it worked. You know, the marriage certificate has worked for the better for me. You can't have come into marriage and you leave the same person that you were before or worse. That's bad. So the question becomes, how are you going to serve your partner? You know, emotional intelligence as well with relationship management has to do with conflict management. How do we handle conflict? You know, how are we going to fight fairly? I'm going to try and speed up because this thing is going to switch off. I'm going to try and set up a second laptop. Okay, I've got another laptop here. Hey, nearly fell. Yeah, I'm going to try and set it up so that at least by the time this one switches off, we still have a presentation to do. So please bear with me. So your ability to deal with conflict is going to be very important in the relationship. Okay, I usually say to couples, not fighting doesn't necessarily mean that you are happy. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about like these horrible fights where saucers and cups are flying everywhere. I'm talking like, you know, decent, let's talk, let's communicate. That's the kind of fights I'm talking about. Because I've unfortunately been exposed to a couple that the lady used to bite the guy when they got into an argument. So that's you know, God forbid that I have to be called in and somebody has been beaten. It would be really sad. We are hoping that that's not the case, you know. So the issue of building, the issue of building bonds as well is super important in a relationship. Sorry guys, I don't know how I'm gonna switch this off. Okay. I'm gonna go off on this other one. Please bear with me. Leave it here. Sorry guys, are you still there? I was, yeah. Guys.
Yes, no we're here, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Sorry about that technology. I'm just gonna try and still use it because it's quite a faulty laptop, but it's got all my notes, unfortunately. So it's important, guys, to do your best to build a bond with each other. A bond.
You know, when we got married with wife, we used to stay at Kempton Park in a place called Glenmarais. And on Sunday afternoons after church, we'd walk. There was no baby and all the other stuff. So we'd walk to one of the garages, buy ice cream, and just walk back. It was beautiful, man. Very romantic, hey? Just buy ice cream and come back. And we talk and catch up. And, you know, you need to do those kind of things to grow your relationship. What are you doing to bond? Just as on Sunday you go to church to bond with God, what are you doing to bond? You know, find ways so that the bonding can happen. And then the other thing as well is the issue of, you know, I'd like to say, is the issue of teamwork. You have to learn to collaborate. You know, when I was younger, I don't know, man, I don't know what to call it. It was just immaturity. Because like my wife would ask me, so what are you preaching about tomorrow? And I'd be like, why do you need to know? You know, as if it needed to be a secret, you know. And it was her way of trying to say, look, man, I'm the one person that's on your side. I mean, for you to just tell me what you're going to preach, it's not like I'm going to go to Facebook. So it's going to be preaching on faith. No, it's just so that she can know and pray. But because I was so, you know, in my own space, I did not leave room for the collaboration. But you outgrow that after a while. Remember, guys, you are a team. You are a team. Be a team. You know, be a team. That's what's going to help your relationship. When you realize, about this is my teammate, and when she loses, I lose. You see what I'm saying? When she fails, I fail. Then it helps. You get to protect each other, work like a team, collaborate as much as possible. Now, I need to teach you guys this thing. It's very important. It's called the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Okay. So there are 4 things that are definitely going to destroy your relationships if you allow them. Number 1, it's criticism. If your marriage is full of criticism, in other words, you're always criticizing your partner, you know, positive, or you will probably lose your partner. You know, you never see anything right when you always have a red pen, you know, to kind of highlight where the negatives are. You never praise, but it's always problems. No one wants to be around that. No one wants to be around a partner who does not see them as anything worth, like as anything good. You see what I'm saying? So let me give you this thing. Nah? If you are going to say something negative to your partner, as Sisipo, you say you want to criticize Simamisa, make sure that before your next criticism, you've praised him 5 times. It's called the 5-to-1 ratio. For every 1 form of negative criticism, you need 5 praises to counteract the negative. That's how much deadly and hateful criticism is. Do you see what I'm saying? 5 things. That's how research shows. They call it the 5-to-1 ratio. For every 1 negative thing you say, at least provide 5 positives and then move to your next criticism. That at least will give you a pause so that you can ponder about, you know, what you've said and how that influences what's going on in the relationship. And a lot of us, we are too quick to criticize, man. We are too quick to criticize our partners. Their dress code and everything. Corey, there's nothing, man, that you are bringing that's praiseworthy. Everything is wrong, and that's not fair. So let's avoid that. Let's be our partner's greatest encouragers. You know, the second thing that affects relationships is what we call defensiveness. Being defensive. In other words, it's almost like you are chiefs and pirates. You know, you have to defend your corner. Your partner raises a concern and you come back with a rebuttal. Love, I did not like the way you called me. But this, but that, you know. When you always have a but, you are being defensive. Sometimes you need to allow your partner to talk. You get what I'm saying, man? So that you know where they're coming from. Because once they stop talking, you are in a bit of hell. It's good for your partner to keep talking. When they stop talking, you are in trouble. So you have to avoid being defensive. Allow your partner without being defensive, without a but. You know, I told you guys the story of my wife trying to help my business by saying, meet at the office with your clients, nowhere else, because we bank on your integrity. If anything goes wrong there, or if anybody lies about you, your reputation is gone. I had a choice to say, no, but this is my business. It's not our business. You know, yes, I bring money, but, you know, it's a selling point. No. I decided to take what my wife was saying. I thought about it and I took it. Beware of defensiveness, guys. Please beware of defensiveness. Remember that it's not chiefs and pirates. You know, we are playing for the same team here. So if I offer you some feedback, yes, it might be hurtful, but take it. You know, because it is only pride that stops us from receiving feedback from our partners. It's just pride. And the problem with pride is that pride is like bad breath. You don't know that you have it, but everybody else can smell it. And that's what happens with defensiveness and arrogance. You don't feel it, but your partner feels, which this guy's defensive, man. I can't put a word in without them putting something in. The next thing is what we call stonewalling, and it's exactly that, the wall between you and your partner. In other words, stonewalling is when your partner is tired of talking to you because you've decided to take your place. You're not willing to accommodate their perspective. You see what I'm saying? So there's a wall between you and your partner. Guys, please don't reach that point. It's a bad place to be at, where your partner has decided to build a wall between you and them because they're tired of talking and you not listening. They keep quiet. And they're like, you know what? It's right. It's okay. It's fine. You know, it's not going to help because anyways, you don't listen. So why should I continue to talk? Because you're not hearing me out. The last one is the most horrible. It's what we call contempt. Contempt is, in plain English, disrespect. Once a relationship reaches a place where there's contempt, there isn't a lot that can still be done. I was trying to help a couple and the guy just left because he's like, no, but there's just a lot of contempt here, even for my own mother. You know, my wife doesn't respect my mom, doesn't respect me. Why should I be here? And he walked out. I don't believe there wasn't still stuff to be done, but he just chose to say, I'm not willing to take this on. Avoid disrespecting each other through your words and your actions. Choose your words carefully when you're talking to each other. Okay, so what's the advice that I can give you about conflict resolution? Number one, accept that men and women are different. You are not the same. Even how you approach matters will be different. Okay? Number two, be empathetic. Put yourself in your partner's shoes, not just sympathy. Sympathy says, ah, shame, uwile. But empathy says, because I think I can feel what she's feeling a bit. I've stepped into their shoes. Practice what is called active listening. Active listening means sometimes even repeating what your partner said. Did I hear you well? Is this what you said? Can I ask for, like, can I ask so that I can get clarity? That's called active listening. Listening to your partner, where you put away your phone and you listen to them. You look at them in the eyes. You don't look at the TV. You look at them in the eyes. The next thing is taking time to cool off, especially when you realize that your energy is very bad. So you take time to cool off. And by taking time to cool off, guys, I'm not talking about silent treatment. Nah? It's not the same thing. Silent treatment says, I don't want to see you. Get out of my face. Taking time to cool off says, I need to go cool off so that my emotions can come down. And cooling off usually doesn't take the whole day, like silent treatment where ungadile the whole day, phone, or you use the child to talk. That's not good, because it even teaches your children just, it teaches them a bad thing, So avoid silent treatment, but you can do time to cool off. Just 30 minutes. Can I come back after 30 minutes and we can continue discussing? Because I don't think I can carry on speaking well with you when I'm like this. You see what I'm saying? And then the other thing is, please stop repeating offenses. If something has offended your partner, don't repeat it. Don't repeat it. If it's offended your partner and you've apologized, do your best not to repeat it. And then if things go very bad, then you must get counseling and mentorship, especially with arguments. And you need to humble yourself to say, listen, we'll get somebody's perspective on this, and whatever they say will be good enough. Are you okay with that, guys? No? It's good sometimes to say, look, man, we are not agreeing, but let's go to this mutual person. And if they say I'm wrong, I'm gonna take responsibility and apologize right there and then. Because there are times when you are not gonna agree. Yeah. So you need to be watchful as well, guys, of the issue of dominating over one another. Remember your partners. Ne? So there shouldn't be this thing of controlling and dominating one another. Control should be shared in a marriage. And I'm not talking about the ultimate leadership. We know that the husband is the CEO of the house. I'm talking about control. No one must ever feel like izimvo zakhe, they're not being heard. Whatever they say is not considered, it's being crushed. It's not right to dominate your partner. That's what I'm trying to say to you. It's not right, but it's okay to take leadership as a husband. But when it comes to sharing control, share control. If somebody is better at something, give them the grace to run that thing. To say you are better at this than I am. Go for it. Okay, what's next? Let's see. I haven't really pushed as much as I wanted to. Treat your spouse as your customer. That one is awesome. Treat your spouse as your customer. Yeah. So if your client is not happy, you need to ask yourself, why is my client not happy? What kind of experience is Samke having in this marriage? Am I giving them a good time or a bad time? A hard time or a good time? Fight the problem, not the person. Strive to win your partner, not the argument. Avoid character assassination when you are dealing with issues. Okay. So yeah, man, you can't be shooting each other down when you're arguing. Since you are now hitting each other below the belt, and it becomes World War III. Remember, the problem is the problem, not your partner. There's a problem, identify the problem, deal with the problem, not your partner. Stay clear of physical and verbal abuse. Like I said to you, there's a couple that the lady would bite the guy, literally. Amlu, man, the guy even opened his shirt. Ponsa the bite wounds when they would argue and fight. That's not right. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7, the Bible says, husbands likewise dwell with them with understanding, giving honor to the wife as to the weaker vessel and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers may not be hindered. If you do not honor your spouse, your prayers will be hindered, definitely. Your prayers will be hindered. So it's important for us to make sure that we honor our spouses, both men and women. Honor your spouse. You know, talk to them with decency. Talk to them like they're adults. You know, your partner is a direct reflection of you. Even how you talk to them matters. You know, use sweet words and gentle words. Build each other up. Now, very important, guys. Strive to compromise. The best place to be at as a partner, especially in the early years of your relationship, is in a place of compromise. And that has to do with control. If you're always having things your way, then remember that your partner is always losing and it's going to affect them. So you need to compromise on issues. Meet each other halfway. Says one, meet each other halfway. Go 50-50. There will be times where you feel, hey, but man, this solution is better. My solution is better. It's fine. But seek to say, let it be a win-win issue so that I can be at peace. My partner can be at peace. As the years go by, you learn to trust each other's judgment on certain issues differently. Then you will come to a place of collaboration. But in the early years, collaboration is not an easy place to be at, because what collaboration says is that Quentin's idea is better. Let's go for Quentin's idea. Mine is okay, but it's not the best. Do you see what I'm saying? It takes a while to get there, because actually you still need to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses and leverage over them. So for now, compromise as much as possible. Let it be win-win. After a while, it will be collaborating, where you kind of like, look, I'm okay. I don't have stress. Sisipo's idea is better. We are taking the better idea. The goal will be achieved. The relationship will be spared. But you find partners, you know, they hold back. In other words, they don't talk anymore because they know, anyways, I'm not going to be heard. Or let him have his way anyways. That's not good. The other thing is you find partners competing. Remember what I said to you with my wife? We would be in competition and it used to kill her. Guys, you are building a business. See it that way. You are building a business. So all the principles that have to do with building an empire apply to you. Talk, talk, talk. There's nothing as painful as being with a CEO that doesn't talk, or a COO that doesn't talk. Because the role of the husband in a marriage is to be a CEO. The role of the wife is to be the COO. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. The role of the husband is CEO. The role of the wife is COO, Chief Operations Officer. The wisest CEOs are the ones that accept and they work with their partners' opinions. They sit in board meetings. They get all the views of the CEO, the CTO, the CFO. They gather all those ideas. They go to the board of directors. They get their opinion. They sit there and they deliberate and they come with an executive decision. And they say the decision is an executive decision, meaning all the guys' ideas were thought of. It wasn't just me coming as the head guy and saying we are doing this. Nobody's going to tell me anything else. Then what's the point of having a COO? Rather live alone. You see what I'm saying? The best teams, guys, are teams that collaborate. And collaborating does not weaken you. It strengthens you. You build to last. So what is a COO? A COO is a Chief Operations Officer. Okay? So the wife is gifted in running operations. If she's given that grace and that leverage, she will do magic. But you find the CEO being intimidated, you know, and you are not giving your spouse space to shine. And it becomes a disaster for the marriage because they feel like this marriage has swallowed them up. They can't shine, they can't be, because they are not being heard, they're not being allowed to get things done. You get what I'm saying? No? So guys, please open communication lines, talk to each other nicely, man. Call each other sweet cakes, my pineapple. Be nice. Be nice. You see what I'm saying, guys? No? Be nice. You don't have to be this hard person when you're with your partner. Be gentle. Be gentle. Use your words nicely. When they're looking for a safe space, let them find it in you. When you are in an argument, still think before you talk. Because yes, you will argue. I'm going to send you guys a video that I'm going to ask you guys to watch, and it's going to add some more to the issue of conflict resolution. It's going to help you. So I'm going to send it to you guys sometime today or tomorrow. Then you just watch it during the week so that we can meet next week. And next week, we are talking in-laws and finances. So today, all I was doing was to basically say to you, guys, communication and conflict, you know, conflict is solved by communication. Talk and be fair and be empathetic. Okay? Please use your money to grow your marriage. Use it to edify the marriage. If you can see your partner, we made change things, man. Get a helper. I mean, Abraham had helpers, you know. We live in the modern times. You know, I remember talking about open communication, and I'm closing with this one. I went to a wedding one time of a guy called Kagiso, and he's married to a lady called Moshaya. She's Venda. And on the wedding day, the pastor told the guy straight, this woman comes from a wealthy family. She's never cooked in her life. She's never cleaned in her life. As you go into the marriage, go in with that idea. That there's a possibility that she may never cook. Yeah, I'm telling you. Quentin Simamisa. Yeah, no. The pastor told, no, this lady was raised with a silver spoon. You must know what you are getting yourself into. And that's it. That's it. But at least you were told. You see? So guys, as well, avoid secrecies, man. Like the secrets are necessary. Like, you know, you are with your partner. Talk to them. Build. Be open. Talk to each other gently so that when your partner comes back, they just want to be with you. You know, there are some partners, ne? Whew, Sisipo. When the guy comes home, upakisha ngaphandle for a good 5 to 15 minutes. Tana sekhaya upakile. Hey, uyazi uba xa ndiphuma apha, it's gonna be trouble. It's gonna be havoc. Xa ndikhipha le suitcase, sendingena endlini, it's gonna be hell. From the time she starts opening her mouth. So the guy is we parking bay for 5 to 10 minutes, readying themselves for the trouble that's going to be the house. Make your house a home. And it's up to you. Make your house a home, guys. Make your house a home. It's going to be through you, man. Enjoy life. Enjoy marriage. It's not a chore. You know, talk to each other, build each other, how you hold each other's hands. You know, you are married. There's no need for space of glory. You know, touch each other, communicate affection. Amen. I'm going to stop recording. You can ask questions when it comes to conflict, anything that you want to know.